Order all your half-shell favorites for takeout or delivery. Visit www.halfshelloysterhouse.com to browse the familiar menu and place your delivery or takeout order in minutes. Same menu prices, just a $5 flat delivery fee every time at Half Shell Oyster House, located at 115 Laurel Park Cove, Suite 105, Flowood, Mississippi, 39232, or you can give us a call at 769-257-7586. And oh yeah, tell them Sonya sent you.
She say sports. She say sports. She say sports. She say sports.
Girl Sonya, and welcome back to She Say Sports and Legends of the Sipp. My usual co-hosts Brian Wakey Adams and Rod Walker were not able to join us today, but I have my usual suspects with me. Please welcome back former NFL players Cedric Donaldson and Jameion Spencer, and please welcome this legend of the Sipp, JSU Hall of Famer, SWAC Hall of Famer, NFL champion, and was just inducted into the 2023 Mississippi Hall of Fame. Please welcome Hazelhurst, Mississippi owned Louis Tillman. Hello, Louis. How are you?
I'm doing great. What about yourself?
I am doing well. That was a lot that you have done over the years, what I just said. Phenomenal. Awesome. So guys, hey, second week in a row. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. So Louis, let's get into it. I usually ask this question because I'm always curious as how did their love for sports begin? So same question for you. How did your love for sports begin?
When I was very young, I was like in third or fourth grade. We used to play a game called Kill the Man with the Ball. Whoever gets the ball, and I know that I love to get the ball, trying to score a touchdown. And ever since that day, since that time, I always wanted the ball in my hand, and I loved the game of football because it was very physical, and I was pretty physical back.
That's awesome. So you started playing football actually at a young age. Did you play in junior high school?
I started playing in the sixth grade, organized football, but that's when I started playing organized football in sixth grade.
Okay, understood. I mentioned that you weren't highly recruited in high school. Two SEC schools sent you offer letters, Mississippi State and Ole Miss, and then Jackson State told you they wanted to sign you, but did not show up signing day. Can you elaborate with us on what happened after that?
Well, after they signed me, I was upset. I was really disappointed at the beginning because my roommate at the time named Billy Smith, he went to Bridgehaven High School. It was a 5A school, and I'm from a 3A school. And they signed him early that morning. And then, in order to go to Bridgehaven, you have to pass through Hazelhurst to go to Bridgehaven, and you have to pass back through it to go back to Jackson. So they signed me late that night, about 9:00 that night. And when I signed, and me and my roommate, I didn't know he was gonna be my roommate until they assigned me and him together. So I told him signing after we became roommates. I say, let me tell you something, Billy. If you want to play running back here, you need to change your position to fullback because you're not gonna play running back while. So I had a lot of confidence knowing that the work that I gonna put in and everything, that I was gonna be the starter eventually.
Yeah, you made a big splash. Your first game at JSU, you played for legendary coach W.C. Gordon, rushing for over 100 yards in your first game. In 1987, you were named the SWAC Player of the Year and a first-team All-Conference selection. You gained 1,474 yards and broke the single-season record of Walter Payton. During your JSU career, you ran for more than 100 yards, 19 times, and totaled 3,989 career yards. Man, that is just like amazing. So when your roommate, when he saw all of this, you know, at the first game, what did he say to you when you did those 100 yards the first game?
Really, I don't remember me and him having that kind of conversation afterwards, but I just know that we all had a good relationship. He never had no animosity or anything like that, because we always worked out together. He was a very built guy. He was very strong, and he looks good, really, really good. And we always worked out together. So I think he always supported me. He never, like, I never seen any kind of negativity towards me or anything like that.
Right. So, you know, I mentioned earlier that you broke Walter Payton's record. Can you walk us through that play in which when you broke that record? And for historical purposes, what was the name of that play?
Oh, Lord.
I'm gonna say you digging back into the playbook now, Sonya.
Hey, I can't remember what happened yesterday. You know about something happened 30 some years ago. I know the play. I know that going into that game, they was always, Graham was talking about they gonna stop Lewis, Tillman, and all that stuff. And my offensive lineman at the time, they took it kind of personally and letting them know that we were gonna run on them. We're gonna do what we want to do against them. So they kind of fired my offensive lineman up, and we was able to do what we want to do on them for us running the game.
Wow. That's amazing. So, Lewis, how did it feel to make these accomplishments, especially breaking legendary JSU Tigers, Chicago Bears, Walter Payton's record? What did that mean to you?
You know, I think it's something that really I can always say. I think at the time it really didn't affect me at all, but I think it's something that's going to linger for the rest of my life, because I can always say that I did break Walter Payton record. You know, it's a guy named Cedric broke my record after I broke Walter 10 years later, and then Cedric broke my record about 10 years later. And, you know, nobody know about him, but they know about me because I broke Walter Payton record, and he broke my record. So it's a big thing about breaking Walter record, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. So, as I mentioned earlier, you were coached by legendary W.C. Gordon. What was it like being coached by W.C. Gordon? And was there anything that any life lessons he gave you that still lingers on and you use today?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. When I was in school, I know that he loved jazz. And I tell you, to this day, I like to listen to smooth jazz.
Wow.
And the thing about Gordon, he was a very disciplinary. And he taught us the way the game should be played. And at the time, it was a physical downhill kind of game. So I really respect Coach Gordon, and I think that without him, I wouldn't have been able to do the things I did, because you could be a great athlete, but if the head coach don't put you in position for success, you're not going to do it. So I think he put me in the right position, and he put me in the position to succeed at the game.
When you, and I'm gonna go back to the draft, but when you got drafted, fourth pick in the first round to the New York Giants in 1989, was he one of the first people that you called to let them know?
I know he was. I can't remember back that far, but I know I was at my house on draft day, and I was kind of disappointed at that time, because I went down to the fourth round, and I thought I was going to be a little sooner. But at that time, it was like 4 or 5 underclassmen that was at bigger school like Barry Sanders and along with Sammy Smith and Tim Worley. All them guys played at Georgia, Texas, and all that stuff like that. So they came out early, so that knocked me on down. So I was kind of upset at the time, but when Bill Parcells called me, I was kind of excited because I felt like I had a chance. I got a chance now to make the NFL team.
Absolutely. So you played for legendary coach Bill Parcells, and I know the first 2 games of I think your rookie season you played, and then that third exposition game you did not play, and you thought you were about to get cut. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I played the first preseason game. We played against New England Patriots. I got 80 some yards, and then I played against Kansas City. The second game, I got 40 or 50 some yards. And then the third and the fourth, the third preseason game and the fourth preseason game, I didn't touch the ball on the offensive side of the ball, on the offensive side.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you're not getting repetitions in the league, your first thing you think about is they're gonna release you because you see so many guys not in the meeting the next day, and you know what happened. So right. I was kind of down, and I guess I was moping around because Bill can sense that something was wrong with me. And just to tell you what type of coach he was, just show you what kind of coach he was, he noticed that, and he pulled me to the side and he said, "Lewis, what's going on with you, man?" And I said, "Coach, I just say I'm just not satisfied with the time I'm getting on offense." And he told me, he said, "Son, let me tell you something. I know you're a good running back. I know you already made the team. You're a good running back. I just need to see what you can do on the special team." And so he said, "But you know what? You better not tell us so, because you see how easy I told you that? I can change my mind."
So Lewis, so he moved you to special teams, and that's where you made your money, and you also made some extra money in special teams. Can you tell us about that?
So every game, after the game, we have a meeting on Monday or Tuesday when we come back to the facilities. Most of the time it would be on a Monday or Wednesday. We come back, and when we first have the first meeting, we have a special team meeting. And that special team meeting, they give out money to the people who cash money. It was $100. I know for every big hit within 20 yards and between the 20-yard line. And that's one thing I thrived on, making plays on the kickoff cover team. And I remember sometime I would come out the meeting, I have $500 or $600 some cash, and you wouldn't believe that guys who making hundreds of thousands of dollars and stuff like that, what they do just to get that recognition about making plays and getting called out in the meeting. So that was very important to me, and that's the way I made the team. And Bill Parcells told me, me and another guy named Dave Meggett, he told us, he said, the only way that you are gonna make the team is because of special teams. And I said to myself, I really don't care how I make the team, as long as I'm a part of the 47-man roster. And that's all right. I wanted to be, a part of that team. And I made it. I did it for 7 years. So I'm pretty satisfied with my career.
Hey, Lewis, I got a question for you, man. I had Bill Parcells was my first coach as a rookie. And I tell everybody, man, that experience, he was with the Jets at the time. It was and Bill Belichick was the DB coach, so he was my personal coach. But I tell people, man, that experience through a training camp with Bill Parcells as a rookie is traumatic, bro. Like, yeah, I was telling, I had when you said you didn't play your third and fourth preseason game, same as experience for me. We played the Giants on our third game, and they had told me I wasn't gonna play. I was getting ready for the first game, which we played San Francisco 49ers, and Jerry Rice was coming off a knee injury in the slot. And I'm thinking I'm gonna get some time, you know. Anyway, I wasn't playing end of the game. He threw me in the game, and I mean 50-some seconds left. I hadn't done anything the whole game. Somebody got hurt. I had to go in. I tore a hamstring, and you know what he said about rookies getting hurt. Hey.
Oh my God.
Hey, but look here, it was traumatic, man. Like he tried to do his best to keep me around. He told me he was gonna find me a job, all that, and he did. He found me a job, the whole nine. But you know, rookies can't make club in a tub. You know what I mean?
Man, I tell you, boy, rookies had it hard. It was really hard to be around Bill. I remember, man, my rookie year, it was like you know how you have a call out for the special team and stuff?
Yeah.
And so when we were doing the call out, I hesitated for a split second. And when you mess up on that, they take money out your pocket. It's $100, right out, $250 or something like that, out of your check, right, just like that. So and after practice, he came up to me and said, Lewis, do you think I like taking your money? And I said, I must say I don't know. And then he said, he word now. They ain't taking your money. I want to give it to you, take it back. Boy, it was tough. It was tough. But they never got another dime out of me.
That was it for you.
I got another dime.
Wow.
I only got fined once in my whole life.
So you helped New York Giants win a Super Bowl in 1991. Congratulations on that. In 5 seasons with the Giants, you rushed 1,406 yards and 5 touchdowns. You were close behind standouts O.J. Anderson, Joe Morris, and Rodney Hampton. Lewis, you really just made a huge impact while you were with the Giants. And you also played with one of the greatest in the NFL history, defensive end linebacker Lawrence L.T. Taylor. What was that like working with LT?
Well, I remember my rookie year. had a couple big games, and the reporter came up to me and said, "What's up, baby, LT?" And LT said, "Let me tell you something. It ain't number one damn LT, and that's me. You don't call nobody to it." So that shut that down real quick, like. But he was a hell of a player. I'm talking about. I have never seen no one that doggone have that much ability. I'm telling you, he wasn't that big. You know, he wasn't big like people think he is, but he was so strong and so much faster and technique wise, it was crazy. We was in San Francisco. We had just beat San Francisco to go to the Super Bowl. And we stayed out somewhere in Arizona for a week before we went to Tampa. And one of our offensive linemen named Jumbo Elliott, him and LT had altercation at practice. And they and so how they sell it, the coach gave him 3 plays to go all out. And those 3 plays, LT beat that one of our best offensive linemen 3 times in a row without no problem. He was a hell of a.
Yeah, he was something. You know, I remember when he had he was, playing in the movie Jerry Maguire, and I really enjoyed seeing him play. Was his personality similar to that character?
I tell you, I really don't know about that because I don't know if I watched the show.
Okay.
But I'll tell you one thing. His attitude now, when I see him now, when I go back to New York occasionally, I see him, he's so much more approachable right now than he was when I was playing. When I was playing, it wasn't just him, it was me too. Sometimes you can approach certain people at a certain time when you're going through the process. But Now since his days are gone, his days are over, he's so much more approachable. I see him interacting with people and fans like he never did when we were playing, because it's a business, and a lot of time fans don't realize that it is a business for us. It's a job, and it's something that we're doing, and we don't. It ain't always glory. It's a job.
That's true. And you're right. A lot of fans don't see it as a job. We just seeing our favorite players, fighting, to get a pigskin and to get that touchdown. That's all we want. So you're absolutely right.
Lewis, hey, this is Jamie, and I wanna ask you, just kind of touching back on, when you talk about that transition, and especially, going from, Hazelhurst, Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi, and now into New York, which is the media mecca of the world, essentially. Tell us a little bit about how that transition happened for you, and what were some of those lessons that you learned that carried you through your career that helped?
I would say I credit my mother. My mother, and she taught me how to cook. She taught me all the things that I need to know in order to be successful outside of football. So that helped me out a great deal.
That's good.
Hey, I know you said earlier that you were your recruitment was was kind of slow, and I talked about this last week when we had the show. Everybody think if you made it to the professional level, you're probably the best from your area or your neighborhood or whatever. Who who did you come up with that didn't make it to the pros that you think people should know about athletically?
That's a good question.
Man, I'm telling you, we had so many good athletes at Hazelhurst. I'm telling you, it was amazing. I was telling someone about this the other day. We had guys who played center when I was in high school. And when I was in the 9th grade, we had a guy that played center. I forgot his name, but anyway, they had 100-yard dash. He ran a 100 yards when he was in high school. And I didn't run that. I'm telling you, it was just crazy. We had a guy named Carl Power. He was so fast. I'm telling you, we had some great players in the Hazelhurst that didn't get a shot, but had way more natural talent than I had. But the only thing I'm saying, like my mother and everybody, they taught me working hard, put the time in. You work hard, you put the time in, you're gonna get results. And that what drove me, cause I made sure that I wasn't gonna be the reason why I didn't make it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna do everything in my power to make it. And if it didn't happen, it's just because somebody just beat me out. But it's gonna be hard for somebody to beat me out because I'm gonna work my butt off to get there.
That's what's up. Hey, to add on to that question, do you think it was because you probably weren't the best in your little area that you knew you had to work harder than everybody else? Because I think some people have so much talent, they burn out fast. They never had to work for it. And so when they do get to the point where they have to work for it, they don't have that extra gear. But if you always the one chasing, go ahead.
I worked out a kid when I went home for the Hall of Fame. I worked out a kid, and he's a running back. He played running back, and in high school, he's a senior. He'll be a senior this year. And when I worked him out, he reminded me so much of myself. On me real quick. You could tell he got it and he wanted. And what I did, I had to do. See, like I told him, I said, man, let me tell you something. When I come back again, and if you're in the same spot, you doing the same thing, wash my hands. because they're letting me know that you ain't working out on your own. But this kid, just like me, I wasn't the biggest, I wasn't the fastest, but I say, if he just have the attitude of working, he gonna be successful. You know, a lot of times, just because you're not successful at the sport, football, basketball, or whatever kind of sport, that other stuff, it teach you about working hard, teach you how to get up for a job, 9 to 5, every day. It teach you that stuff. They just like me right to this day. I mow my own yard. I ain't never had no yard man. It's things that my mama taught me. I'm still doing it to this day because I know that I say, why pay a man that I could do the same thing I could do. I was brought up doing mowing the yard. That's my first job, mowing the yard. So why would I pay somebody to mow my yard?
That is awesome.
I'm just used to working hard, man. I'm a like they say, a home guy. I might live, but I'm still country. I'm saying, I work hard.
Yeah,
So Lewis, I got a question. So going back to, you say you worked the kid out when you were home for the induction, and knowing how the game has changed really for running backs compared to when you were playing, the dynamics of how they train, what they train. What advice would you give young athletes now that are going into the game to evolve and make themselves valuable again in this game?
Well, I told him this. I said, man, you know what's going on with the running back right now, don't you? I said, you might want to change your position to DB. So they hurt you at running back right now, boy. But you know what? Hey, if I was getting the money that these guys getting, I'll still play running back. I'll go in for that $10 million. I'm fine. $10 million, I'm good.
right.
I don't have no problem with that. Yeah.
I hear that. I tell them, you got to look at what's going on and see what's best for you. And like a lot of people talking about Saquon, the Giant running back. I was saying to myself all the time, I say, man, I can't see letting $10 million go away. I got to get it. I might miss a couple weeks of training camp, but you better believe I ain't gonna miss no game check. You're right. Yeah, you're right about that. You're right. You're right.
Cause you can't get it back. Once it's gone, you ain't getting it back. That $250 they got for me my rookie year, I can't get it back. I don't care how much money I made, they still got that $250.
They ain't getting it no more, huh, Lewis? That was it for you.
Yeah, that's it.
So Lewis, let me ask you another question, Lewis. Looking back over your career, your 7 years in NFL, and I know you spent some time with some legendary coaches between New York and Chicago. But were there any coaches that had such an influence on you that you wish you had spent more time with, that possibly you could have extended your career or whatever the case may have been?
I think I could have, because I had a coach, Dan Reed. Dan Reed was my coach my 5th year in the league, and Dan, he told me, and when my contract was up, I had a good year that year, and my contract was up. He told me, he said, Lewis, before you make a commitment, before you sign, give me the last option. Give me the last chance to get you. And so I did. I told him Chicago gave me an offer. First, Bill Parcells gave me an offer. But Bill told me, he said, Lewis, I'm offering you this amount of money, but you cannot tell nobody about the amount can't tell nobody. I told my agent at the time, I said, I'll go back to New York and play for the minimum before I go on a deal like that. I said, I ain't going, I tell Bill, I ain't golden like I'm a free agent. I got freedom to go wherever I want to go. So a couple weeks later, Chicago called, got me, and then they gave me an offer. I called Dan Reed like he told me. I said, Dan, Chicago offered me such amount of money. He said, well, this is what I do. Give me a minute. And I guess he called George Young, and George told him to give him this. So they offered me more than Chicago offered me to be a backup at New York. They offered me more to be the start. They offered me more to be a backup than Chicago offered me to be a starter. So they beat Chicago out. And I feel like if I would have went back to New York, cause Dan Reed went to Atlanta after that, and Dan Reed knew that I was a hell of a special team. He was getting 2 players at one. You know, that's how they benefited from me, because they getting 2 players for the price of one. So I was a hell of a special team player, and I was a decent running back. So I feel like he would have took me to Atlanta with him, because the kind of loyalty, because I came back to New York, and he was that type of guy, because he told me when Rodney got hurt against Buffalo, he said, Lewis, I'm not gonna go out and get no other running back. It is your job to lose. Mm. And boy, and once I heard that, that's all I needed. And my first game, I had 100-some yards against Washington Redskins. And the next game, I had 169 yards against the Philadelphia Eagles and 2 touchdowns. The next game, Rodney Hampton was coming back off an injury. So they tried to play Rodney, but Hampton wasn't ready. I had like 70 or 80-some yards against Dallas, and didn't play the whole game because they were trying to see was Hampton back, but Hampton wasn't ready, and then they played me. If I would have played the whole game, I would have easily got 100-some yards. But I think that's one person that I could have played at least 2 more years, because I wouldn't been playing number special team, just going down and trying to make plays. Because all the time that I was a starting running back. The time when Rodney got hurt, I'm the starting running back, but I was still covering kicks on the punt team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
So, you mentioned you turned Chicago Bears down, which is my team. However, you did finally sign with them in 1994. Now, let me go back. So because you were a JSU Tiger, I was a freshman when you were leaving Jackson State. So, of course, I was excited when you got drafted to the Giants, but I was ecstatic when you went to the Bears, because I knew, I was like, oh, we about to do some things. I was so excited. However, you were plagued by injuries and had to retire the following year. If you were not plagued with those injuries, do you think this new beginning with the Bears would have been a very lucrative one on the field for you?
I don't think so, because my rookie year, my first year at the Bears, we had a young offensive line. We was getting together. We was coming around by the end of the year, but they drafted a guy the next year in the first round, a running back in the first round, Rashawn Shalom, from Colorado. And whenever they draft someone in the first round, your time is up.
Yeah.
So they wanted to get rid of me my second year, but they couldn't afford to get rid of me, because those guys, I touched the ball 300, but whatever, I had so many carries, I only fumbled the ball once that year.
Mm-hmm.
So in preseason, they fumbled about all the running back together, probably fumbled the ball 4 times in the preseason. So they couldn't afford to get rid of me and look, because I didn't turn the ball over, but yet it's still, you gonna get rid of me and these guys that turning the ball over, because you can't win if you turn the ball over. They're just blank. You ain't gonna win in the NFL, you turn the ball over.
That's true.
No.
But I don't think that it would have been. I wouldn't. I had no long career in Chicago. Maybe somewhere else I would. I probably played a little bit longer. I would say like give myself 2 years, 3 years at the most. Because one thing by being in the league, you know, you see how they treat guys. They're not a superstar player, player and a good special team guy. I have seen through the years how they treat guys like that, and I won't let them treat me like that. I know that I might say something or do something to turn my relationship with the organization. I didn't burn no bridges. That's all I was trying to do. I burned no bridges in Chicago or New York, and I got a great relationship with both.
That's awesome. Do you ever go back for any of the Bear weekends?
I'm going to see the first game against Green Bay. I'm going to the Green Bay and the Chicago game. I just bought my ticket today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my second team. Well, is it second? No, that was my third team. I was with the Bears third. And man, that organization is one of the few organizations, man, where they bring alumni players back. And now when I was there, they was cheap now. Like the facilities and stuff were kind of cheap. But but it looked like they do a little bit for you after you retire and they bring you back. I don't know. I haven't been yet.
Let me tell you, I'm serious. When I go back to Chicago, and they I'm serious, man. They take care of you for that kind of stuff. But when I go back to New York, since I've won the Super Bowl with New York, it's totally different. It's a totally different ball game. New York, they bring me back and I make money. When I was in Chicago, even when I went to Chicago and I do appearances for $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. I go to Chicago. And they want me to do appearance for $500 some. Nah, I can't do that. I can't do that. So after like 7 games, I realized they ain't going no higher than $700. So I say, okay, I'll do that.
Babe, that on special
Yeah,
teams.
but it's a totally different. It's a totally difference between New York money and Chicago money.
Oh yeah.
It's a big difference. Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this real quick, Lewis. Now that Aaron Rodgers is gone, you know our biggest rival, the Bears' biggest rival is Green Bay. Do you think we have a chance this season against them to win?
I would assume, I don't follow it. I can't tell you who the offensive lineman. I can't tell you nothing. The only thing I can tell you about that quarterback, I say if they're doing the right thing and trying to build around their quarterback, I think they'll be successful.
I agree. I love Justin. You're right.
Yeah, and back. I know at least 3 years ago they had a hell of a defense, but they just didn't do nothing offensive wise. But they had a hell of a defense.
That's true.
So I hope they get it together and just continue to build around him, put him in a good position, get a good defense, and keep on bringing in players in to help him.
Right.
I got a question for Lewis right past. I went to Provine, man. We right down the street from Jackson State.
Oh yeah.
We're both Rams. We're both Rams.
Yeah, we're both Rams.
Oh my God.
So I'm a huge Jackson State fan. I didn't know what Mississippi State. I didn't know what the SEC was until I was a senior. Well, maybe a junior in high school. Because every Saturday, I'm at Jackson State, right? So, I love seeing y'all play. I was a corner. I wasn't gonna hit nobody. I was a cover corner. I was meant for today's game. I wasn't gonna hit nobody. But y'all had a player at Jackson State, man. He was my favorite player of all times, Robert Showtime Turner. He ended up getting killed in front of in Port Gibson. Yeah. So did he leave? No, I think he got shot at a club.
Oh, okay.
He might have been. You left in '89, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I know.
My first year in the NFL was 89.
Okay, so he might have been a freshman or just getting there, but I know he was on his way to the NFL if he wouldn't have got killed or whatever. But one of the things I loved about him, he was in tune with the band, and they used to punt the ball, and he'll be back there in the end zone dancing. I mean, just he would dance almost until it's time to catch the ball, and then he catch it. He out of there, boy. I just knew I was coming to Jack State with that number 2, man.
That's all right, man. That's all right. I was never that type of guy. I was like a really low key guy. I didn't want too much attention. I just want to just give me the ball, coach. I didn't do no dancing. If you ever see me celebrate, something must have been wrong. You better believe it was preached about, talked about it for the whole week, cause I don't do stuff like that.
Yeah, you was a workhorse, man. They used to feed you that thing, man.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I think back, it could have been. I think I could have been a little better if they threw a little bit more. Open the hole up a little bit, spread it out a little bit. And then it'd have been guys like you that didn't want to hit.
Well, Lewis, let me ask you this. So, I'm gonna get into it because when you get into running backs and you played on some pretty stout defensive areas, right? You played with Pepper Johnson, LT, and those guys at New York. And I think even when you went to Chicago, that was during a time when Chris Zorge and Flanagan and I think Theory was the young buck there. But let me ask you this: so goal line period, would you rather do 2 sessions with that Giants defense in their prime or Chicago's?
That ain't about when I was there.
Yeah. When you were there, what defense would you rather run against?
No comparison.
None.
I'd rather go against Chicago any day than the Bears. Giants. Man, listen to this. We won the Super Bowl because our defense.
Not yet.
We won the Super Bowl just because of our defense. Because our offense you just held the ball. Just didn't turn the ball over. We knew if we scored a touchdown, 2 touchdowns, we knew we were gonna win the game because our defense. But in Chicago, it wasn't like that. We had a decent defense, but it wasn't nothing like that.
Wow. So, Lewis, I have a question from Charles Bishop. It's his birthday. It's his 50th birthday today. But when he found out I was interviewing you, he was like, "Oh my God!" So he texted me a message to you. He is a huge Jackson State fan. I mean, just like Cedric, he grew up every Saturday going to the games. But his question: USM versus JSU was so absolutely historic in 1987. What were your memories of that game? And did you understand back then the significance of an HBCU playing the Big Three back then?
No, I did not know the significance of it. But I'll tell you one thing, it was a very exciting game for me and I was assumed for Jackson, period, because the crowd that we played in front of and the way we represented Jackson State or even the SWAC, because we really beat them all over the field.
All over.
I had more yards than they had total offense, and
Wow.
our defense shut them down. Only thing they did, they was able to they had a good special team. They got a punt return back for a touchdown or something like that. But other than that, I'm talking, we beat them all over the field, and they know it. And at the time, I wasn't into penalties and stuff like that. I really don't know how the flag was thrown. That can stop a whole job. I really can't speak on that, but I know that we dominated the game, and so I don't know what happened when we got down the goal line close to scoring or something like that. It don't take but like I said, one flag here and one flag there, and throw you out of whack. So I really don't know, but
Biggest
I know
flags.
we beat them all over the field. So now if I get the report, the report, how many penalties we had opposed to how many penalties they had, then I say, oh, they won that game too. So I don't know. I don't know.
Hey,
Wow.
but back then, man, people don't understand. When I go places and I tell them, and I tell them about the SEC and how all the players I knew that was going to the NFL were coming out of Jackson State. Like Jackson State was the Notre Dame for me. Like, and you know, every year it was coming out of there. Like,
yeah,
I never knew that Mississippi State. I knew Glenn Collins. He went and played for Mississippi State. I knew him personally because he was our coach's nephew. But man, you guys were like really the stars. You know, we don't have a pro team, so y'all were stars, man. And back then, all the kids was trying to get to Jackson State, man. Like for real.
I tell you one thing. I remember when I was in New York, we had two guys from Jackson State to get drafted in the first round, a DB and a wide receiver.
Yep.
And you talking about somebody talking so much smack in that locker room, talking to Ole Miss, Mississippi State, y'all know. I was talking so much junk, boy, in the crash shade, man. I say, y'all SEC, yeah, you better go to the SWAC.
Right.
I was talking so much junk, man, in the crash shade. That was exciting.
Hey.
Like you said, every year I was there, we had a guy to get drafted.
Yeah.
Every year.
It was amazing.
And after I left, it was guy getting drafted. Tim Burnett. I'm talking about whole Jimmy Smith.
Jimmy Smith.
It was. I'm talking. We had them going.
Yep.
That's true.
Yep. And we
So-
need to get. I'm an LSU guy, man. But I signed with Jackson State. Big Daddy Carson. I was in the locker room, of the library. I signed with him, and he told me. He said, Donaldson, yeah, we're gonna redshirt you. I said, Coach, you ain't gave me a chance to even get there. But he had two young corners, which both of them made it to the NFL. And I went to junior college for a year, and then all the recruitment came back, and them corners were still there. So I went to LSU, did my thing or whatever. But hey, man, I salute Jackson State. That's what I grew up on.
That's
Well,
what's up.
you made it to where you need to go, where you wanted to go. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
But like, I tell kids to this day, I say, man, red shirt is not a bad thing. Red shirt is a great thing. It gives you another year to get your degree.
Yep.
It gives you another year to develop at your craft. So red shirt is a great thing, because if it wasn't for red shirt, I wouldn't have had my 5th year. So I got red shirt in my true junior year. And then I just happened to put 2 good years back to back together. So
But see, I had the little man syndrome. Now I should have redshirted. Like clearly, I should have redshirted. I was 140 some pounds.
oh my God, I love you, boy.
I wasn't gonna touch nobody. I knew my skill set. Hey, I know. As soon as I got to Hines, and we got out there on the field, I was like, Coach, I should have redshirted. You know.
Hey man, if I would have saw you coming, I would say, he ain't coming. He gonna fall down. I just do a high knee, just step over. Yeah, that's kind of like that, boy. 140 pounds. That is tight.
I graduated high school 147. Man, my first day stepping on a college campus, I was 150.
I was 192.
Well, you gained 3
I
pounds.
was 192 coming out of high school.
Wow. What? And you were 6 feet? 6 feet?
I was never 6 feet. They probably put 6 feet, but the NFL is 5'11" and 3/4.
Yeah. They gonna take that sentiment a little bit.
They gonna get you everything. They gonna put you dead on track.
5'11" and 3/4. Okay. So Lewis, you moved on from being a player to being a coach. How rewarding has it? And I know you've retired recently. Correct? Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes,
I retired in 2015.
Okay, so how was it for you being able to pour back into athletes just like W.C. Gordon, Bill Parcells were able to do to you? How was that for you?
I tell you one thing, my coaching style reflects Bill Parcells and WC. And I show much love, but I'm a very tough coach. But I'm the same every day, all day. I'm the same coach. I'm not gonna. You'll never see me up, and you never see me down. I'm the same. I'm gonna require the same thing out of you every single day. And my guys gonna know that they're gonna work hard, and that's the only way I know. And but that's how my coaching style. I give much love, but I require a lot of effort.
No, you said,
and I love it. I love the game. I love coaching. I love giving it to the kids, especially when you see the kids come in at 9th grade and don't know how to put their shoulder pads on, don't know how to put hip pads on, and then you see them grow every year, and then that senior year they go out and get a scholarship, and they doing well. Even if they don't get a scholarship, they go to college and get a degree and got families and come back and see me. That was special. That was worth coaching. To see them kids come back and say, "What's up, coach?" I appreciate that.
I like that. That's good.
That's awesome.
And you mentioned earlier that you saw one guy when you were here for the induction. You saw a Lewis Tillman. When you were coaching, did you see any future Lewis Tillmans?
I saw a lot of them, but I saw some guys. I saw kids that had way more talent than I had, but they didn't want to work. They didn't want to work, and I have no. I have no patience and no love for people that don't want to work.
Yeah,
and because that's how I was brought up. I just. You gonna run out to practice. You gonna work so, especially a running back. You gonna work so hard before practice and individual drills. When you do with individual drills, you feel like practice was over with because I'm gonna work you just that hard.
Wow. And that's because of the era you came from. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It pays off. I know what it gets you. If you work hard, you'll get it. It'll come out eventually. If you work hard.
Absolutely.
And the most one thing I like about teaching the kids too, I wanted to see when I was coaching, I put the kids in a position what we were doing in the NFL, learning the game, not just playing the game, learning why you doing what you doing. And that was the most important thing to me, teaching them to understand that. Because I tell them kids all the time, your athletic ability is not going to take you more than your mental part of the game. You got to be mentally sound and know everything up here so you can react on the field. And if you can if you know the stuff here, you're going to be able to react on the field. You can have all the ability in the world. If you don't know the game, you lost.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true.
So like I know in a cover 2, I know a man gonna be out there in the flat. So when I break out there, I know he out there. I ain't got to worry about it. He gonna be there.
He's supposed to be there.
Waiting for you.
Right. That's right.
Unless he run out of bounds, like, Coach, my bad, I got blocked out of bounds. He don't want that.
Yeah.
So Lewis, last question. Earlier this week, Clarion Ledger released JSU's all-time top 10 quarterbacks. And the number 1 quarterback, you played with him, was Sean Gregory. Gregory was a 3-year starter. He helped lead the Tigers to 3 SWAC titles in 87, 88, and 90. As a senior, Gregory passed for 2,762 yards and was named first team All-SWAC. He finished with 6,285 passing yards and 50 touchdowns. In 2009, he was selected selected to the JSU Sports Hall of Fame and All-Century team. what was he like as a leader and on the field with you guys? What was he like as a leader?
Well, now, what year did he finish? What year was he a starting quarterback at Jackson State? I know he wasn't my senior year. I know that.
87, 88, and 90. So you were there in 87, right?
I was there in 87 and I finished in 89, but I think 88 was my last season.
Okay.
But I think I played 2 years with him. But he was a good quarterback. I'm telling you, he was a good quarterback. Just like I stated earlier. Now that's one of the quarterbacks that I knew he had all phases of the game. He could throw and can run. Mm-hmm. And a lot of time when we was at Jackson State, you know, like they said, they would feed me the ball. But he was a good thrower of the ball. He could pass the ball. Mm-hmm. And a lot of time I feel like if they would have threw the ball just a little bit more, it would have opened up the running game a little bit better, easier, made it much easier for me, rather. So now he was the one that could really play. And you know, any time you play that position, you got to be intelligent, because you can't play quarterback and not be intelligent, because you got to be able to catch on, and you got to be able to catch on quick. You got to be able to study, and you got to have the ability. And evidently, you know, I don't know how smart he was, but I just know he had to be smart in order to play that position.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sid. I thought you was about to say something.
Oh no, I was just saying, I remember those days, watching them, you know, they definitely, we did the same offense. We ran the same offense at Provine. So we was not gonna throw the ball. Yeah, we wasn't gonna throw that thing. We was gonna run. Gonna be some 23 leads all day.
When I was coach at that Jim Hill, boy, Provine, they gonna run that ball. I said, Lord, and they did. Yeah, it was tough. That was a tough team, boy.
Well, Lewis, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been such an honor. I hate that we were having some technical difficulties, but we got enough in. I believe. What you say, guys?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Been a pleasure.
Before we go,
in life, if you don't make adjustment, you're gonna lose the game every single time.
Every time.
You're absolutely right. And I'm so glad you made that adjustment that I mentioned about getting in the car, because
there you go. Pat yourself on the back.
Sonya Parcells.
Sonya Parcells. I'm telling you. But hey, before we go, we play a little game that's called You Can Get With This or You Can Get With That. And what that is a way for the listeners and myself to get to know the guests better. It's easy, trust me. They play it all the time. I'll ask you a few questions and you choose the best one that fits you. No answer is wrong or right, okay?
Did I not say to you earlier when I talked to that kid, I was slow?
Oh no, you're not slow.
I catch on slow and I do everything slow.
You're not slow. When you find out they took $250 out of your check,
you figured that out quick.
Oh, you're not slow at all. You're like, oh, not my check. Oh.
All right, I'll try.
Let's try. Would you rather travel the world for free for a year or have $50,000 to spend however you please?
Travel the world for free.
I know, me too. That's way more than the $50,000.
That's right. $50,000 ain't gonna go for that long, but you travel the world, it can last a whole year too.
Yes, and $50,000 with us having real bills, it'll be gone in a couple.
I know that's the truth.
Would you rather hear a comforting lie or an uncomfortable truth?
Uncomfortable truth.
Tell me.
Uncomfortable truth. Tell me the truth and I can deal with it. That's
right. Would you rather have to hunt and gather all of your food or eat McDonald's for every meal?
Hunt for my food. I do not want McDonald's every single day. Cause I get fat and then this ain't healthy. I need the green vegetables. I grow my own crop. I did that when I was in Mississippi. I had my own. I grew my own stuff.
That's awesome. If I don't know what I'll do because I don't like to. I don't know. Anyway, whatever, Cedric. Would you rather have fortune or fame?
Well, I think I'd rather have fortune. I'd rather have fortune. Because I really don't care about, I never care about what people, my wife see me now and I go place, I do stuff and I look certain way. She say, boy, you should go that way looking like that. I don't care about certain things. I just don't care.
See, Louis, you can tell her you already got her, so it don't matter. You got her already, so it don't matter.
Yeah.
Would you rather be stranded in the jungle or in the desert?
In the jungle.
In the jungle.
I hate to be out there in the sun, and I'd rather be in the jungle. I probably have a better chance of making it in the jungle. If the sun gonna keep on beating down on me, I can get in some water or something. I get up in a tree or something to hide from the animals or whatever.
Absolutely.
I think I got a better chance in the jungle.
Absolutely. Would you rather be invisible or be able to fly?
Fly. I dream of flying.
Oh, really?
Oh my God, I dream of that, doing that all the time. I'm in there just go where I want to go.
Yeah, that's true. Would you rather go back to the past and meet your loved ones who passed away, or go to the future to meet your children or grandchildren to be?
Well, I feel like when I die, I'm gonna see my people in the past, but I want to go to go forward.
See your
I want to go back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Last one. Would you, if you could play, because both of these quarterbacks were also in the top 10 all-time quarterbacks. If you could play with one of these quarterbacks today or back then, I don't know, well, either or, would you rather play against Shedeur Sanders or Casey Terahawk?
I don't know Casey.
Casey was white tiger.
Oh, that's the white guy, right?
Yeah, he was the white tiger.
I really didn't care for neither. They throw the ball. I wouldn't like neither one of them because I want to get the ball.
Thank you, Louis. Yes, that's some perspective we need. Yes. We don't like either one of them. Give me the scrub that's just gonna hand it off, and that's what I'm talking about.
First of all,
give me the ball.
What you say?
But he, like I said, they threw the ball too much for me. I wouldn't have made it in the NFL because that wouldn't have helped my career.
Hey, spoken like a true running back.
Oh well, fine, Louis. We'll fine, whatever. Louis, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you all having me.
Absolutely, it was so much fun. I appreciate it. But guys, you can follow me at She Say Sports on Facebook, She Say Sports 23 on Instagram, at She Say Sports 23 on Twitter or X, whatever it is. And please subscribe to our YouTube page, She Say Sports. Well, that's our show for this time. Until then, this is Sonya with She Say Sports, Legends of the Sipp. We'll see you next time.